Imagine a castle, not a medieval one with knights and dragons, of course, but a very modern digital one. Its walls are millions of pixels, its towers are hundreds of thousands of followers, and the moat protecting it, oddly enough, is a perfectly planned future. The owner of this castle was 19-year-old Maya. Every day she polished her world to a shine. Videos with cute puppies got millions of likes. Helpful study tips created the image of a smart, straight-A student. And her flawless smile on streams simply guaranteed universal admiration. Advertising contracts were already knocking at her castle gates. Her future didn't just seem clear, it was planned minute by minute. In her perfectly orchestrated world, there was no room for a single... until one evening. It was late. Maya had just finished a multi-hour stream, completely drained. The mask of perfection she'd worn for hours became unbearably heavy. She leaned back in her chair, and believing the broadcast was over, exhaled. And with that exhale, words burst out, real, bitter, cynical, about how fed up she was with her fans, their stupidity, their naivety. She forgot to press one single button. Off. And in just 30 seconds, her digital castle, which she had built for years, crumbled, burying her under its ruins. This was one of those events called a black swan. For millennia, people were sure all swans were white, until one day, in distant Australia, a black one was seen. One single one. And it destroyed knowledge that had seemed unshakable. A black swan is something no one expects, something that fundamentally changes the rules of the game, and something that in hindsight, everyone tries to explain as if it was meant to happen. Maya's world was a world of white swans, understandable algorithms, predictable growth, stable likes and reposts. She built her castle out of the most beautiful, yet most fragile material, the illusion of control. And one single black swan, her accidental sincerity, shattered that castle to pieces. The consequences were swift. Brands who just yesterday promised her mountains of gold today pretended not to know her. Friends who swore eternal support stopped answering calls. The university, proud of its star, quickly got rid of her. Her personality, carefully constructed from others' expectations, simply evaporated. Maya found herself at rock bottom, without money, without reputation, without a future. But you know what's most interesting about rock bottom? There's only one way from there: up. Losing her fragile castle, she gained something far more valuable: freedom. Freedom to be angry, to be sad, to be imperfect, to be real. And this new real Maya suddenly turned out to be much more interesting than the glossy doll she had been. She no longer tried to build something perfect. She started living. Maybe she opened a small bakery where the smell of fresh bread was more important than the number of likes. Maybe she launched a podcast where she honestly talked about her failures, and thousands of people recognized themselves in her story. She no longer built a fragile structure. She became antifragile. What does that mean? Think about immunity. To get it, you have to get sick. The body, encountering a threat, doesn't just survive, it becomes stronger, it learns. That's antifragility, the ability to get better from confronting chaos. We can't predict our black swans. They arrive without warning. But we can choose who to be. A fragile glass castle that will shatter with the first stone, or a person who only gets stronger after each blow. Maya's story is not a story of failure. It's a story about how sometimes, to find your true self, you first have to lose everything you pretended to be. So maybe the main question isn't how to avoid catastrophe, but what will you do when it inevitably happens? And are you ready for that encounter?